All right, everybody, welcome to our Tuesday team call. And this is a special one, kicking off kind of a new series. But for all of you here, there's like 78 of us already on. I'm sure some of you are brand new. So we do these calls every Tuesday evening for absolutely any coach on all our teams. The leaders on our teams locked arms probably a year ago, and we said, hey, why don't we team up and like host these big team calls every single Tuesday together? So it's not necessarily one team's team call, it's like everybody's, because we're all part of a community. So just know that if you're a new coach, you're adding your own coaches to your team, please invite them. Everybody's welcome, okay? So every Tuesday night, we have a leader on our team cover a different topic. And what we decided, I'm not sure if some of you saw in our stories, a few of us qualified to go to what's called Beachbody's leadership retreat. It should have been in Arizona, but obviously it was virtual. But it's the highest level retreat that Beachbody puts on for the highest level coaches, and you have to qualify. And I wanted to show you quickly who qualified from our team. So this is how we spent our weekend, learning for everybody on our team together. So Amanda Marie, which some of you may know her as AMQ, Brittany Helko, Carly Fiore, Kirsten Clark, Marie Barker, Virginia Scroggins, Nicole Zacharias, and myself qualified. And we actually got to bring some guests with us as well. So I just wanted to shout out these ladies because we spent all weekend taking notes, taking things in, yes, for ourselves, but more importantly, so we can take that knowledge and forward it on to all of you guys. So what we decided, we're like, hey, let's make every Tuesday night for the rest of this year, one of us that went to leader conference, that we could bring this knowledge to everybody else. So that's what this team call, and every Tuesday pretty much until the new year is going to be. It's going to be different knowledge we brought. So tonight, the host is myself and my leadership guest, Kelly Seskin. And we reached out to all the girls that went to leadership, and we're like, okay, what is the one thing you want people to know, like on this first call? And it was hands down a training that we did on what to post on social media. It literally is the 3 ways you can post on stories and the 3 ways you can post on your feed. And you can tweak these obviously for Facebook or other platforms. So that's what myself and Kelly are going to go over. But real quick, some of you may not know myself or Kelly, so we just wanted to share where we come from. Because I don't know about you guys, but when I listen to training calls or things, before I get the knowledge, I do like to hear like where that person's coming from, right? How long have they been doing this? How did they get started? Like, can I relate to them before I actually take advice from them, right? So my name's Morgan Rieger. I've been doing this for a little over 7 years now. I'm from a tiny town in Saskatchewan, Canada. I was supposed to be a high school biology and chemistry teacher, but I eventually was able to step away from that, and I just do Beachbody coaching. Always loved health and fitness. I actually have done Beachbody workouts on and off since I was like in grade 8, because my older sister ordered all their DVDs. But when I was starting my first full-time teaching position, I was going to the gym religiously at the time, but I'm like, Morgs, you're not going to have time for the gym. So why don't you commit to one of those at-home workouts that you kind of did on and off? You've never actually done one from start to finish. So I actually went online to order a program that would help keep me on track with my fitness while I was starting full-time teaching. It was Body Beast at the time. I ordered that. And then I came across a little tab that said, become a coach. That's how I learned about coaching. I wasn't really on social media. Instagram didn't exist. I knew nobody who was a coach. Nobody invited me, nothing like that. I read the little blurb on the website. I told Steven about it, and he said, Morgs, it sounds like you might really enjoy that. You should sign up. Finally, after talking about it for about a week and nonstop, he's like, if you don't sign up, I'm just going to sign you up. So I signed up, but I signed up and paid the most amount you can, because again, nobody told me a challenge pack existed. So I bought Body Beast, then I paid the coach sign up fee. Then I learned about Shakeology and I wanted to try that. So I paid for like max price for all 3 things. Didn't know you could get it as a challenge pack at a discount. And then I reached out to kind of the coach that was given to me, I guess. I said, hey, I think I became a coach. What do I do? And she said, here, watch this video. It was like just to kind of get to know the basics. And I watched that video and I'm like, this is that thing I was missing that I didn't even know I was missing. Like I always, for some reason, felt like something was missing in my life. But as soon as I watched that video, I'm like, this is it. And I kind of dove in from there. So I'm going to toss it over to Kelly, and then we're going to talk about the 3 ways to post on social media.
Hi guys. Okay, my name is Kelly Sescon, and I actually signed up to be a coach 3 years ago today, which is crazy. It just launched in Scotland on this day 3 years ago, and I was living in Scotland because I'm a hockey wife and my husband was playing over there. And I knew about Beachbody. I probably did P90X before. I was always an athlete, and I was trying to go to the gym. I had a 6-month-old. He was up every 45 minutes at night. It was insane. But I wasn't getting to the gym, even though I had a free gym membership through my husband's team, and I just couldn't get there. So my sister-in-law actually told me more about Beachbody. So I signed up through her, and then she ended up quitting. So now Morgan is my upline coach. But when I signed up, I didn't know anything like about coaching. I remember saying to my sister-in-law, like, is it worth it? Like, I don't know. And I didn't really do the business building activities, the things that'll move your business forward, I would say up until like 2 years ago, because I didn't understand the importance of that, if that's what I wanted to do to build a business. I was posting, I was trying to talk on my Insta story, but I wasn't really doing the things that, as coaches, we should be doing, the vital behaviors if we want to move our business forward. So that's how I got started. And now I'm back in Canada, but I've been able to do this job in so many different states. I lived in Romania. I did it in Romania. I've done it like all over the place. And in the meantime, had another baby too. So it's been the best thing I've ever done, 100%.
It's so funny. Every time I go to send Kelly a gift, I have to, because usually I'll grab like people's addresses from the online office, but I have to text her and I'm like, so where are you living now? Where do I send this to?
Like, is this still your phone number? I'm like, nope.
Yeah. And then I text her, I'm like, hey, or I text her and there's no answer. So I Facebook her. I'm like, is this your number? She's like, no, I changed my number. We moved again. Oh my God.
Another country now.
Okay, so let's dive in. So we're going to talk about the 3 types of stories that you can post. And we're also going to talk about the 3 types of posts you can do. Because so often, by a show of hands, does anybody like, oh, I don't know what to post some days, right? So we wanted to basically simplify that, give you kind of 3 options to at least spark the juices for stories, and then 3 ideas to spark the juices for posting. So Kelly's going to go over the 3 types of stories with some exact examples, and then I'm going to go over the exact 3 types of posts. And I know those of us that went or attended this virtual leadership have already started implementing these things and have already started to see traction from them. So we want to forward that information on to you guys. So I'll hand it over to Kelly.
Okay, so before I go into the 3 examples, I just want to say that I literally could not do this, like talk like this when I started. I could not talk on my stories. I had to train myself like how to do this. I couldn't do it. I'm shy, I'm introverted, and that part was really, really, really hard for me. So if you feel the same way, it gets easier, I promise you. And it just takes practice. And the best part about it, when you're doing your stories, nobody's like watching you when you're doing it. If you screw up, if it's like awkward as F, just do it again, delete it, do it again. So like if you're in that space right now, don't worry, it gets easier, and just get yourself out of that comfort zone. So the first one, let's see, is a B-roll. And I'm going to show you, let's see, I'm going to screen share and show you an example before I go over this. And hopefully you guys can all see this. Okay. Can everybody see that? Yes. Okay. So in this example, the girl literally, she set up her phone so it's facing her. If you go to photos in your phone and you hit time lapse, it will start recording yourself in like super fast mode. And you just sit back and you just work. Like you would go to sit down to do your coaching activities. So you're letting people into showing them what you're doing as a job. It's okay if your kids like running in and out. It's okay if it's like something crazy, because the majority of us doing this, it's in small pockets of time, and you just want people to see how you're doing it, because this type of job is very unconventional and it's hard to understand if people can't see it. So if they can see you doing this, then it's a lot easier for them to understand. So all you have to do is go to your camera, hit time lapse, set up your phone, start doing your work, whatever you're doing, and then push stop. And then you can upload this to your Insta story. Okay, so that's a B-roll. The next one is, and you can do this for anything. It doesn't just have to be your work. It could be if you're cooking something, if you're measuring out a recipe with UPF or To Be Mindset, any type of thing you're doing with your nutrition or your programs or the work, if you can do this type of B-roll and upload it to your Insta story. The next one is talking heads, is what it's called. Find the right one. And then this example, before I play it, it's actually of me when after I had my second baby, I did carb cycling, which is actually a part of it's a part of UPF that you can find if you ever want to try it. But I did carb cycling for 2 weeks, and I was talking on my Insta story about carb cycling. So basically the camera is right on your face, and think about exactly what you want to say before you start saying it on your stories. If you mess up, who cares? Delete it, do it over, and just think about what you want to say, and then say it on your stories and upload it. Also, I like to kind of write what I'm kind of talking about when I'm talking to my phone, because a lot of people aren't listening. They could be at work and they can't have the volume on. They could be, I don't know, anywhere, and they just can't have the volume on. So if you type out a little bit about what you're talking about, at least they're getting the information if they're not listening. So this is the example of the talking heads. Okay, so that was just an example of a talking heads, which I'm sure most of you do now. You're talking about something very specific. You're giving tips. You're giving tutorials, anything like that on your stories. That would be the talking head example. The last example is a static image. So here is an example, and these are the ones that you want to be able to, if it's on your story, to tap, tap, tap. So instead of having like so much information on one picture, you want some information, then the next picture, some more information, the next picture, some more information, the next picture, some more information. So it's not like they're getting all the information and really probably can't read it while they're on the one picture. So if they do like the tap, 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 gives them some information, the next picture they'll get more. So this example, she's talking about the online coach mentorship, and she gives like a little bit about what the mentorship is about. That's the first slide. Then the person would tap onto the next one in your story. The next one would be about who the type of girl she's looking for her coach mentorship. And she gives examples and explains about kind of like who she would want to work with and who she wants to be in her coach mentorship. The next tap would be, this is like a call to action. So she's saying, if this is something you would enjoy doing, DM me or email me tomorrow and I'll email you the full details. So that would be the next slide. And then the final slide is kind of like, you can do this for your challenge group or coach mentorship that you have coming up. And it's just kind of like, so people can see that they have an exact date of when something is starting, they know what it's about. And then once you have people signing up, you can add their names to like the 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever spot. So this is her last slide showing exactly when this is happening, what it is, and you can join too. So that's an example of the static images. So you can use photos of yourself that you have on your phone already and add information to it. And it's just tap, 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 tap. So you're not getting all the information at the same time in one image. And I think that's it for what I wanted to share. Let me stop sharing. So the last thing I want to say about stories is, after getting all this information over the weekend, I'm very consistent on my stories, but I will say that I have implemented a lot more of these things, like even in the last couple of days. And it hasn't taken me any more time. And my boys are crazy. They are like loud all day long. So I would just kind of, I guess I could say I was sort of taking the easy way out, because I was just like, oh, I can't like take a video right now or blah, blah, blah. But if you just kind of think about how you want to like have your stories throughout the day, so you always have like a story flowing, instead of just having like a story in the morning and then there's nothing the rest of the day. So say you like talked before your workout in the morning or after your workout. So that's talking head. Then you have like a little bit of your everyday life. Then the next thing you could have like a B-roll of you doing some of your work. And then later in the day, you could have static images of you inviting to your next challenge group or to your coach mentorship, or it could even be for a recipe. It doesn't have to be coach related or fitness related. It could be tips about meditation. It could just be tips about anything. So if you have a story flow throughout the day and that rolls into the next day, so you always have like a story going, even though it's not taking up more of your time. So yeah, I think that's all I wanted to say about the stories. I think I covered it all.
Yeah, that was perfect. So the 3 were a B-roll or a time lapse, like that sped up one, and then the talking heads, and then the static image, if you didn't grab those 3. And for me, same thing. My stories have been easier the past couple of days, because I'm like, oh, I'm sitting down to work, boom, time lapse, done. Like my stories have been even quicker to do. So those were the 3 types of stories that you can do. And I wanted to explain the 3 types of posts that you can do. So these are the 3 types to kind of get your juices flowing when you're sometimes like, what should I post? So I'm going to read out the 3 and then I'll go over them. So there's vulnerable, value, and viral. So those are the 3 types of posts we can do. And I am going to share my screen and show you a few examples of what we're talking about. So let's do vulnerable first. So AMQ sent me this one, which was an awesome example. So these were kind of her 2 photos. And then in her post, she talked about being a girl who's starting to normalize her body because there might be some cellulite or some stretch marks, or things might jiggle, because we all know that's totally normal. But this was a vulnerable post for her. And I think sometimes we're actually quite good at these posts, because we're constantly told, like, share your story, share your journey. So immediately that's often vulnerable posts. So When you go and do these, I'm going to show you how to kind of jot down notes for these later, but when you go and do a post, sometimes we like to type it up really quick. And then what I would do is try and make your first line really catchy. Okay. Or like something that would interest somebody. So for AMQ, it was, this is what her first line says. Well, sorry. It said, who's that girl? And then she the girl who wore shorts for her workout today. And right away, I would be like, I'm reading that, because so many people I talk to will not wear shorts to work out. Are any of you those people still where you're like, oh, do I wear shorts? So right away kind of catches your attention. And sometimes you won't get that first line till you're done reading your post. But if you can make that first line just something a little catchier, and then start to go into your post, okay? And what I like to do is catchy line, kind of the body of the post or my story, and then at the end, making sure I give something of value. Because if I'm just talking about myself, I mean, whatever, that's okay. Like I'm sharing my story, but what's the lesson in all of this, right? What could I give right at the end? Like maybe just a little sentence of encouragement. Maybe there's a book that helped me with this. Maybe there's just something little extra I could share. So that's a vulnerable post. Like I said, most of us are doing those because that's just sharing our story. So the next post, I just want to make sure. Okay, I was just checking the chat. So the next one is value. So Carly Fiore sent us this one. So this is her photo and then her typed up description. So a value post is exactly how it sounds. You're simply providing value to somebody. And I encourage you to set it up a similar way. That first line, something catchy, and then going into some value. And then at the end, maybe like some kind of call to action. And that's exactly how Carly set this up. So her first line says, 3 unexpected benefits of self-care. Boom. Then she kind of goes into these things. And then at the end, she asks, what's your favorite self-care ritual? Okay. And don't stress out if people don't comment, it's okay. If they do, great. So another question is, oh my gosh, where does she get this content from? You guys, I almost guarantee you, she didn't come up with this completely on her own. She probably heard it on a podcast. She probably read it in a book. She probably saw it on Pinterest. That's where most of our ideas come from. Or I can speak to myself, anybody else. Most of my stuff, unless it's just my story, is coming from something I've read or listened to, okay? And I've just put my own spin on it. So that's a value post. So we've done vulnerable and value. And then I wanna share the next one, which is viral. So Carly also sent me this one. So the third type of post we can do is called a viral post, which is something I've never done. I actually did one for the first time today. So what this is something you often get from a different account that you love, that you think your target audience, your people would really enjoy seeing. Sometimes it's motivational or sometimes it's funny. It's something you think they might send in a DM to other people. Like, you know how there's the little flag icon to save posts and the little paper plane icon to send it to other people. Instagram loves those posts that people are saving or sending to other people. There's engagement on it. So Carly had a ton of shares and DMs sent of this post right here. She got it from somewhere else. Obviously, she connected with it and wanted to repost it. And then I'm sure she just put a little blurb of her own at that in the description of the post, or asked a question or something like that. So that's an example of a viral post. So you could go to whatever Instagram page you love, that maybe it's funny or motivational, whatever it may be, and just start saving some posts where you're like, oh my God, that is so me, because that will relate to your people that you want to connect with too. So that's a viral post. So I wanted to show you a way you can, Stop recording, stop video. There it is, stop share. I wanted to quickly show you a way where you can keep track of these post ideas. So I want to show you what I set up. I gotta share my screen again, I forgot again. Yeah, and you could totally make your own viral post too. You could type it up new, make it a new graphic, totally. So I just made this spreadsheet. If you don't have a computer, you guys just do this in a note on your phone. That is perfectly fine. So I just made 3 columns that say viral, value, and vulnerable. And when ideas come to my mind, I'm just starting to jot them down, so that when I go to do my post for the day, and I learned this from Kirsten Clark, I'm still getting good at it. I'm not 100%, but she always says to have your post up the night before for the next day. She's like, I don't go to bed unless my post is ready, because she's like, my brain does not think for a post the next day. So on days I do that, I feel so much better. I'm not 100% at it, but I'm getting better. But this is where you could go to be like, okay, what do I want to, post tomorrow? Am I focused on my challenge group right now? Okay, which post would kind of align with, helping people on their health and fitness journey maybe? Or if I'm more focused on coaching in the second half of the month, it's like, okay, what's a post I could get some value that maybe kind of relates to coaching, or that kind of thing. So this is where you could start to bank some ideas. And I actually just made another column off to the side here that says coaches, mainly just because I want to start making a few more like training videos or resources for my coaches. And I like to keep track of what gets asked a lot. So if I'm getting a common question or whatever it may be, anytime you get asked the same question more than once, it means you should probably make a video about it or make a little description of it or whatever, because you're probably going to continually get asked about it. So that is the value, vulnerable, and viral. Okay. So just to recap really quick. So for the 3 types of stories, we've got the B-roll, the talking heads, and the static image. And then the 3 types of posts, we've got the vulnerable, valuable, and viral. Okay. And we've got like 1 minute left, 1 or 2 minutes left. And I wrote down 2 things I just wanted to touch on with posting on social media before we wrap up. Number 1, when you're posting or when you're talking about your stories or talking in your stories, try to talk in a way or type in a way that the general public understands. What do I mean by that? I mean, I understand, you guys understand what a coach is. You understand what BOD means, BOD, Beachbody on Demand. We all understand what energize means. We all understand what 30-day breakaway means. But if I'm not in the Beachbody world, I don't understand what those mean. Okay. So when you're talking and you read it over or you re-listen to it and you catch these Beachbody words, I want you to see if you can tweak it. Okay. What's 30-day breakaway? Well, it's a running and weightlifting workout. So instead of saying 30-day breakaway, say, I'm starting a running and lifting workout. That makes sense to people. If you post a link to a free workout, I wouldn't say free 30-day breakaway workout, because I don't know what that means. I would say free running and lifting workout or something like that. Same with coaching. When I invite to coaching, I don't know what a coach really is, right? You could reword it to whatever coaching means to you. For me, I am extremely passionate about fitness. I always have been. So I usually talk about it in a way that I say you're starting your own online fitness business. For somebody that like the workout part isn't the biggest part of coaching for them, they might word it a little bit differently, but that's more understandable to the general public. Okay. AMQ just typed a good one in for MBF. MBF, what the heck is that? She said a CrossFit inspired weightlifting workout, you could say, or CrossFit inspired workout or something like that. Even CrossFit, sometimes the general public might not understand. So you could say like weightlifting and HIIT cardio workout or something like that. Okay. So that's just a tip. Talk in a way that the general public understands, and you'll be able to include a lot more people, and you're going to have a lot more people interested when they feel included and they understand. People don't want to join something they don't understand, right? And then my last tip is, if you do want to help more people, find more customers, find more awesome coaches, that means you need to give more. If you want to receive more, you got to give like hotcakes. Okay. So never be afraid to literally, you can like word vomit value and everything all the time. Never be afraid to over give, like free workouts, book recommendation, podcast recommendation, recipes, your morning routine, your nighttime routine, literally anything and everything. Give it to your audience. Because when they see value in you, when they've learned something from you, literally, it can be the smallest little thing, you guys. I live the boringest life, but I try my best to share everything. And you'll be amazed. That's when people build trust with you. And that's when they're like, okay, this girl's got something. I think I want to join her. Okay. So sometimes if, at the start, all of us maybe might struggle to hit Success Club or sign up new coaches. It might be a little bit slower because we haven't built that trust yet. But say if you see a coach that's been coaching for 5-6 years and you're like, dang it, how are they like signing coaches or hitting the highs of Success Club numbers? We're not doing anything differently. We've just been providing value for longer. So just keep doing that. Okay. So those are just my final tips. Talk in a way that the general public understands, and give anything and everything. Never be afraid to over give. Okay. Awesome. So I was just reading a couple of the comments. Compound Effect. Yeah. If you haven't read The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy, can you please go purchase that tonight? Either in a book or in an audiobook. Please go purchase it. The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. It was my first book as well, Jen. Yep. It's a super short read. It's a game changer book. Okay. Thank you, you guys. Please join us next week. We're going to have another leadership qualifier and their guest hosting with another topic that we learned. Invite all your coaches. And then after this call, the diamond and above coaches on our team get on for another 30 minutes where we just like sink our teeth in deeper, talk more, kind of just brainstorm ideas, take it to that next level. So if you have a goal of becoming a diamond coach, just know that you'll be welcome to join on those diamond calls with us too and make it a goal. It's awesome. So have an awesome night, you guys. I'll get this recording up hopefully tonight or tomorrow morning. Okay, see you later.